All right, so today we're going to discuss about personality disorders o ito yung isang topic na talagang medyo makaka-relate kayo ng bagya since I'm sure that you know a lot of people having this kind of um, problem. All right, so you are in a circle of friends who have you know individual personalities and maybe some of your confidence and as well as of course you have this personality differences and you will see here the qualities of each and every friend that you have. So today, personality disorder, is it normal actually to have this? Is it abnormal to be having such issues? So those are questions that we are going to unveil. All right. Answers will be given after the discussion of the different personalities. Okay. So personality traits are actually enduring. Okay. So these are enduring patterns of perceiving, thinking, reacting and relating to about the environment and oneself. So that are this perception, okay, or patterns of perception or thinking are relatively stable over time. So it is actually normal. Okay, we have this normal beliefs, attitudes. Okay, uh, patterns. Okay, of relating to other people, okay, and we exhibit in various situations, okay. So we have um, we have shifting of attitudes, okay, depending on the person that we interact to, okay. So these traits are the primary part of a person's stable personality throughout his or her lifetime, okay. So at the same time, personality is actually the aggregate of physical and mental qualities of the individual as this, okay, as we interact in characteristic fashion with our environment. All right. So, personality trait, on the other hand, are those characteristics of an individual which makes him or her unique and form the basis for the way he perceives the world and how he relates to others. All right. So, this is the trait that okay would make you different from another individual, okay. So we have kaya nga minsan 'di ba iba-iba sila ng magbabarkada yung mga yan, they've been friends for almost a decade, but still they have qualities, they have similar qualities, but at the same time there are still qualities that different, they are different from each other, all right, and that makes okay the friendship more exciting, okay, since hindi naman kayo pare-pareho lagi ng hilig, hindi kayo pare-pareho ng gusto, okay, and you influence each other, all right, in different manners, all right. So kailan papasok ngayon si personality disorder, all right? So what are the um what are the parameters that we are going to consider if someone has okay a personality problem. So your personality disorder occurs when the personality of the individual is characterized by inflexible, all right. So let's write this one, okay, to have an emphasis of uh yeah. So it becomes a disorder class when the attitude or the personality of that individual becomes inflexible. Alright? So inflexible. Kaya lang, may mga panahon talaga na you are inflexible din. Okay? For example, in a group, alright? And may mga decisions minsan ang group na hindi rin naman din tama. Okay? So, you become parang nagiging kontrabida ka, and that makes your attitude somewhat inflexible then for the majority of the group. Pero you know, if we evaluate your reasons, then they are actually right. You have a basis, okay? May pinanggagalingan din yung yung sinasabi mo o yung pinaglalaban mo at that certain period of time, tama? So, i-ano pa natin, i-extract pa natin, titignan pa natin ng mabuti kung ano ba talaga itong inflexibility. Paano ba nagiging inflexible yung iyong uh, personality trait, okay, before it becomes a disorder. All right. At the same time, class, your personality becomes a problem, okay, or a personality um, of a certain individual becomes disturbing if it becomes maladaptive. All right, it becomes maladaptive. So you are considered to be different from the expectations of the individual's culture. All right, you are different from the expectations of the individual's norms, okay, beliefs, causing significant subjective distress. All right, so your inflexibility becomes so distressing. Okay, it becomes so distressing or impairing, all right, in another's interpersonal or vocational functioning, okay, or in your personal vocation or interpersonal functioning, okay. So hindi siya nakakabuti sa iyo at lalong-lalo na hindi nakakabuti yan sa ibang tao. Okay? So the inflexibility are so rigid, okay? The inflexibility are so rigid, and this is used excessively across a broad range of situations, okay? And you express this rigid, distressing, and impairing, okay, functioning in a very dramatic, okay, in a very dramatic and exaggerated manner, okay, than considered normal by the norms of another person's culture. Okay? So yung paniniwala mo is, you know, is maladaptive, hindi siya normal doon sa paniniwala ng karamihan na to the point na nakakaabala, okay, distressing. Okay, at the same time yung ano ba, yung parang ilulusot mo talaga yung gusto mong mangyari. Okay, wala nang chance for it to, become flexible in some at some point, okay, and you become very dramatic, okay, na minsan OA ang dating, alright, kaya sabi nga dito very exaggerated ang manner of expression of that behavior or functioning, alright. So people respond to the world around them in a consistent manner, so walang palya na pagpapakita ng maladaptive and inflexible um, behavior, okay, including in the way they deal with stress. All right, especially when they have, okay, or when they face a very stressful situation. So, in a normal, tawag dito, in a normal situation, maladaptive at saka inflexible na siya. So, what more if, if this person um, expresses, okay, him or herself in a in a stressful situation or in an anxiety provoking situation. So however, normal individuals usually resort to alternative actions if their initial or usual way of coping with stress is ineffective. Okay, people with PD or personality disorder do not act this way to resolve problems or cope with stress. Rather, they engage in the same maladaptive responses, even if these are ineffective, to the point of impairing their ability to function as well as, okay, becoming so distressing in the eyes of the people around them. So the resultant impairment in personal, work, and family functioning may lead to other disorders. All right. So yung personality disorder can be a starting point. Okay, for it to become a mood disorder, some people can become so depressive. Okay, and some people can become so manic. alright? Or yung sobrang saya naman nila, okay? And some may develop both, okay, problems, which we call as your bipolar disorder. Others would, resort to substance abuse, okay, just because they cannot cope with their maladaptive behaviors, eating disorders, and anxiety disorders. All right. So individuals with this personality um, disorder typically have no insight of their problem. They're not aware. Ang alam nila, it's normal to do this and to do that. Okay, and their problem remain in contact with and the problem is they remain in contact with reality despite the long duration of dysfunction. Okay, so this dysfunction can be involved in their social and vocational functioning, and they are more likely to refuse psychiatric help and deny that really a problem exists. Okay, so they have disturbances in self-image. They have a decreased ability to have successful relationships. Okay, from time to time, iba-iba ang kanilang kasama because they cannot actually grow. All right, they cannot grow or they cannot maintain an emotional and psychological stable relationships, okay, and yun nga sabi natin kanina, their behavior is so inflexible and maladaptive, okay, that impairs their relationship with other people. A spectrum of maladaptive traits that produces or influence considerable psychological and emotional disturbances. All right, so characteristics of people with personality disorders are the following. So you have, maladaptive traits are often preventing these persons in their personal relationship, and they increase the level of anxiety or internal stress. All right. So sobrang stress yung itong taong ito internally. Okay. And these stresses are, radiating, okay, in that person's totality, thereby preventing them from building a stable and healthy relationship with their family, with their workmates, their classmates, okay? And these patterns of behavior are actually the hallmark, okay? Ito yung talagang tawag dito, ito talaga yung makikita mo na sign, okay? That there is a problem on these people. All right? So when you say hallmark, yung hallmark signs, ito yung distinct, okay? This is the distinguishing feature. All right? So, for example, pupunta ka ng France, okay? Ang hallmark, okay, o yung landmark that makes France very popular is of course the Eiffel Tower, okay? Pag pupunta ka sa UK, I think it's the Big Ben. Pupunta ka ng US, it's the Statue of Liberty. So ganun din yung ating mga personality disorders. There are, okay, hallmark signs that which are very distinct in, okay, in distinguishing them from other personality disorders, or alright, or mental health problems. Okay, so malalaman natin yan maya-maya. So maladaptive traits are often rigid and inflexible, okay, that exist in attitudes and behavior of the person. Once a person's trait is established, it is extremely resistant but not impossible to change. It takes a longer um, time, okay, for them to realize that really a problem exists. Since, sa ibang mga problema, sa ibang mga mental health issues kasi, the client is actually aware, okay, of the problem, but in personality disorder they are in denial of their condition. They think that the attitudes or behaviors that they have are actually normal, and minsan nga sasabihin naman yan, hindi, nasanay na sila sa akin. Ayan, so alam naman na nila na ganito ako ever since, may mga ganon silang rason. So it's really very hard to, yung napakahirap baliin nung kanilang paniniwala, and it takes so much time, okay, for them to realize and for them to resort to treatment or management. Ayan. And in the Philippines, it's really an issue. Okay, it becomes a big issue if if you try to consult, okay, the help of a psychiatrist. Okay, with even in a very mild problem maybe. Ayan, meron ka lang pinagdadaanan konti, you've been lonely for several days. Okay, in some other countries, try to resort they try to seek the help of um, a psychiatrist already. Okay, and that is, that doesn't cause a stigma on them. But in the Philippines, ayan, very ano yan, tawag dito, it's an issue actually, especially in, in rural areas. Okay, na nalalaman nila agad yan. Okay, dahil maraming ayan, contact tracer. Okay, contact tracer na ang tawag sa mga makabagong chismosa ngayon. Okay? So, all right. So, in the personality disorders, usually the onset begins during adolescence and young adulthood. They have a poor impulse control. Okay? Hindi nila na kokontrol yung kanilang bunganga, hindi nila na kokontrol yung kanilang mga actions. They decide very quickly. Okay, and tawag dito, yung decisions nila are usually coming from their emotions. Alright, so when they are emotionally unstable, they decide uh, deliberately. Okay, nagde-decide sila agad-agad. Ayan. So they have a very poor impulse control. Di ba nga sabi natin kanina, we have poor decisions when we are at the height of our emotions, when we are sad, when we are angry, and when we are very happy. So as experts would advise us, they will tell us na do not decide when you are extremely uh, uh, at the height of your emotions. Okay, dahil lagi-lagi yan, and most of the time, the decisions are not actually accurate, okay, and reliable. So you decide when you are emotionally stable. Okay, but for these people with personality disorders, they decide anytime. Okay, um, tawag dito, they decide anytime, whether they are happy, they are sad, or kahit anong state of emotion, regardless of their emotional state. So mood characteristics, swinging, okay, ang kanilang mood, okay, hindi rin siya stable. They have a very impaired judgment, okay, napaka-rigid ng kanilang mga decisions, ng kanilang mga judgments. At times, some cases, they have impaired reality testing. Okay, so especially in cluster A, okay, because we have three clusters sa inyong personality disorders, madalas pag sa cluster A, they have a very impaired reality testing. But for clusters B and C, ano naman, they have a good reality orientation naman. They have an impaired object relations. They cannot connect one situation from the other, or they cannot connect the purpose of one object to the other. All right, so for example, you have given them a bat and a ball. Okay, so tatanungin mo sila, what is the connection of a bat and a ball? Okay, or in what sport would you see a bat and a ball? They cannot actually process it. Okay, hindi nila alam kung anong sport yun, and they cannot actually relate the purpose of the bat, okay, to a ball. All right, so impaired thought process, mabilis minsan yung kanilang pananalita. It's very disorganized, okay, yung kanilang thought process. All right, impaired self-perception. Okay, when you say self-perception, this involves now your senses. Okay, so senses, or this involves now your perception towards the totality of your personality or the self. Okay, so when they are asked to describe themselves, they actually do not have a tawag dito, comprehensive and comprehensible idea of what of who they are. All right, they have an impaired stimulus barrier. Okay, when you say stimulus barrier class, yung protection of yourself towards danger. Okay, towards danger that may come or that may hit, okay, that person's uh, uh, that person. Okay, acting out to manage internal pain. Okay, sabi nga natin kanina, they become so exaggerated and overacting, yung nag-overreact sila sa um, internal pain, or even, okay, stimuli from, okay, external sources. All right, so forms of acting out includes physical and verbal attacks. They are so sensitive with stimuli from outside. They tend to manipulate other people just to get what they want. They resort to substance abuse, promiscuous sexual behavior, especially in borderline personalities, and suicide attempts as well. All right, for some, in some cases. All right. All right, so before we head on to the different personality disorders, let's define some terminologies first, okay? Just like, for example, what normality is all about. This, okay, normality means the following represent traits that normal people possess to a greater degree than those diagnosed as abnormal. Okay, so normality, nabanggitan natin yan during our first discussion. You always have to remember your acronym mental health. Okay, naalala niyo pa yon? Si mental health, I think that was included in your module 1 or 2. Okay? And for a person to be mentally ill, okay, nandun din yung mga traits, okay, ng mentally ill individual. But of course, we do not use the word abnormal to these people since very ano naman ito, judgmental at saka inappropriate na tawagin natin silang abnormal individuals. All right? So, efficient perception of reality is a quality of a person who is, okay, perceived to be functioning normally, wherein a person has a realistic appraisal of his capabilities, of his talent and skills, and what is going on around them. Okay, they are aware of what is happening. Okay, around them, so they do not consistently misperceive what others say and do. Okay, they do not give immediate judgments. Okay, halimbawa may nag-aaway dun sa daan. Okay, and dahil nga kilala mo yung babae na ganito siya noon, okay, na meron siyang history of this, without without looking, okay, into the situation of what is happening during that time na nag-aaway sila, eh, ginudge mo na agad yung babae because you know her past. But actually, okay, dahil hindi mo din naman nakuha yung totoong kwento of what happened, okay, na mas kasalanan pala nung isa, okay, nung other party, eh hindi mo na, you know, you have lost interest in knowing the real problem because you were able to make judgment, okay, na kasalanan na nung kakilala mo yung nangyayaring away na na-witness mo outside. So they do not overvalue their abilities. Okay. So, pag tinanong mo siya, hey, can you render a, you know, an intermission during our event? Wala, o parang ano sila, they do not actually value their talents, their skills and abilities. Okay. And they are afraid, of course. First is they are afraid of humiliation. But in some cases, may mga personality types, okay, na madadaanan natin mamaya na they sobrang ano naman, sobrang they are confident, they are overconfident, and they do overvalue their God-given abilities. Ayan. So, nor they underestimate their abilities and shy away from everyday tasks. All right. So, what else? A normal person, okay, you can consider someone to be functioning normally if they have a well-adjusted awareness of their own feelings. Okay, they know when to get angry. They know when to vent out, okay, their feelings or their emotions, okay, in public or in to some people. Uh, they know when to express happiness. Okay, and although none of us can fully understand them, most do not hide important feelings from themselves. Okay, so they have more self awareness as a result. Okay, so that is self knowledge. What else? Um, you have a normal functioning if you're able to exercise voluntary control over your behavior. Okay, so confidence in personal ability to control behavior. You have self-control, and you may act impulsively, but can restrain sexual and aggressive urges when necessary. So minsan may mga nararamdaman tayo, okay, towards other people. Okay, like for example, the expression of anger, the expression of our sexual desires, okay, our urges. But we know when to express this. Okay, maybe we can express this privately as a normal person would do. But in some cases, for people with personality disorders, hindi nila nakokontrol yung kanilang mga impulsivities. Okay, kaya nga siya impulsivity, no? Because they cannot be controlled. All right. So they open up, okay? They express their sexual and aggressive urges, makikipag-away yan, okay, na wala sa oras. Minsan nakikipag-harutan yan, okay, in public. Okay, and they can utter vulgar words, okay, without restraints. Okay, so no holds barred ang kanilang expression of their sexual and aggressive urges, and they may fail to conform to social norms as a normal individual, but this is voluntary rather than the result of uncontrollable urges. Okay, ayan. So a person who is considered to be normal as well, okay, have a right, a very have a self-esteem and acceptance. Okay, so self-esteem and acceptance is the appreciation of self-worth and acceptance by those around them. So we are comfortable with others, and we are able to react spontaneously in social situations. We don't feel obligated to subjugate the opinions of, okay, the people around. All right, so a normal individual has the ability to form affectionate relationships as well. So formation of close and satisfying relationship with others are qualities of a normal individual. All right, satisfying relationships meaning they are happy with these relationships. The relationship is healthy. All right, may mga away. It's normal to relationships that you have arguments, all right? But of course, you know how to handle this properly. And yun nga, na-overcome nyo yung mga spices of your relationship. So, sensitive, these people are sensitive to the feelings of others and do not make excessive demands, okay? So, they do not use other people to gratify their own needs, okay? They have the ability to reciprocate affection and they don't fear intimacy. Okay, so another quality of a normal individual. So they are productive as well as they are able to channel their abilities in productive activity, in their work, in any aspect of their lives. Okay, and they have enthusiasm for life, meaning they are on the go. They have this optimism, okay, in them that despite the uncertainties, despite the problems that they encounter, still there is hope and there is something to look forward to in their lives. All right. So this is productivity. Okay. So ayan na. Wait. All right. So how how come there are personality problems or this personality issues have developed? Okay, so paano ba nangyayari ang mga ito and what causes these problems to exist? Okay, so actually there are several factors that is presented to us by theories. Okay, ayan, that supports the existence or the causes of personality disorders. All right. So number one, okay, in our references, may mga nagsasabi na this is caused by biological factors. Some others would support psychodynamic theory, and maybe, all right, sabi nung iba, it is caused by the kind of environment that you know they they grew, okay, kung saan sila lumaki. So yun yung isang yun yung mga factors that we consider, okay, in the existence of this problem. So pwede daw biological factors like for example the temperament traits. Okay, so ibig sabihin kinalakihan na nila yan. Okay, it may be through the child rearing process, kung paano sila tawag dito, kung ano yung klase ng magulang o yung pinanggalingan ng parents, then can also be a factor. Or maybe because of hormonal changes or or the fluctuations of neurotransmitters, okay, that they have. So pwedeng ganun daw. At the same time, it can also be psychodynamic in nature. It may be caused by the type of discipline that was employed by the parents when this child is growing up. It can be issues, okay, na hindi na resolve, okay, during their childhood days, okay? Or pwede din daw environmental factors. It can be the separation and abandonment of parents, okay, towards their children, okay, nag-separate ang magulang, or these children were abandoned by their loved ones. And it can also be negative childhood experiences, okay. Lagi sila nakaka-witness ng away, ng gulo, ng, pahirap when they were still small. Or pwede rin it's a cause of abuse. It can be emotionally or physical abuse that they suffered, okay, when they were growing up. Or pwede rin yung kanilang mga life experiences, alright, that may influence or may have influence, okay, the personality that they have today. All right, so psychoanalytic theory would tell us that personality serves as a host mechanism, okay, comparable to the immune system. So it offers na protection against many psychological and interpersonal stresses of living, preventing symptom formation and breakdown. O yan. So your personality is actually the outward um, immune system. It's the outward, it's the facade, okay, that people would see, okay, and your personality is the one that would protect you from several from external and internal disturbances, okay. So there is also the facade, okay, sabi nga your facade, the appearance of yourself, okay, hindi lang yung physical appearance mo, but of course the way you handle yourself, okay, in front of other people. So a false self outside the true personality that enhances survival in a potentially hostile world. All right, so the ability to say nothing, okay, when you are faced with a very stressful situation, may nangaaway sa'yo, okay, but still you maintain your poise, you maintain your tactfulness, okay, despite the situation, all right? So no matter how angry or how how aggressive you want to become, okay, there is a, sabi nga natin kanina in our components of a normal individual, nandun yung ability of one person to control. All right? So, there is now an overcompensation. This is an inborn tendency to counteract deficiencies and inadequacies through reparative striving. So undoing this overcompensation plays a key role in your therapy. Ayan. So Horney in 1939 described the three groups, okay? Yung tatlong clusters that we have. Okay, so yung cluster A daw natin is a group of people who can move towards who can move towards people in their relationship, okay, compliant and self-effacing, self-esteem determined by others. All right, so these are your dependent types. So malalaman natin yan maya-maya lang. All right, and cluster two are those who move against others in relationships, aggressive, seeing life as struggle, seeking power, and exploiting. So these are your sociopathic types. Ayan, yung antisocial personalities, of course, a component of this one. And you have those who move away from others. Ayan, umiiwas sila sa socializations and become very detached from interpersonal relationships. They do avoid, okay, other people, okay, they avoid conversations, all right, they do not communicate, or they have a very limited communication with other people, and consequently lead to restricted lives. All right, these are your avoidance schizoid. Okay, and okay, at some point your paranoid personality is under this type. All right. So another cause, okay, of a personality disorder can be biological in nature. So it is generally accepted that the development of personality disorder can be caused by hereditary, okay, or temperamental traits, okay, which are genetically determined, okay. So these traits generally make up the permanent aspect of one's personality, as this deeply ingrained, okay, or innate characteristics determine a person's response pattern to situations. So many personality disorder may run in families, okay, and there is a high likelihood that gender may also play a role in the person's tendency to develop a particular personality disorder. Okay, so this can be true because certain personality disorders, such as your antisocial personality, are more frequent in males. Okay, so pag tinitignan natin yung antisocial personality are those who in school, sila yung mga nagpapandal, sila yung naglalagay ng bubble gum or chewing gum sa ilalim ng lamesa, sila yung nambubuli sa mga classmates nila. Yun yung kasi starting point of the antisocial personality. Yung bullying to the point na na napapaiyak yung mga kaklase, they bully even their teachers. Okay, ay binubully nila. Actually, ang antisocial personality, pagbata yan, nagsisimula yan as yung mga, ang tawag dito, yung defiant, okay, child, yung mga sumasagot-sagot, okay, sila yung mga walang respeto sa mga teachers. Okay, and wala silang control, okay, and respect to authorities. Ayan. So, 'di ba, na alam ko you are smiling at the moment because you are actually recalling people na may ganitong mga ugali. Okay? So, ito yung mga tawag dito, mga bata noon, okay, na nakikita ninyo na talagang may pagkabastos ang kanilang pag-uugali. And when this, okay, behaviors persist over time, they can develop into another type, okay, na similar pa rin naman, ibang pangalan nga lang, and we call them antisocial persons. Okay, so whereas other disorders can be seen more often in women, like for example borderline, okay, yung mga very clingy, okay, sobrang attached, okay, o kaya histrionic, maingay, okay, walang kontrol ang bunganga, okay, para lang makakuha ng attention, and dependent personality, yung iihi lang, kaya kailangan mayroon pa siyang kasama, okay. Ayan. So twin studies have also shown that there are actually significant similarities in temperament. okay, or occupational and leisure time, interests, and social attitudes of monozygotic twins who are, who grew, okay, in a different environment. So monozygotic twins who are reared together or who grew together are almost the same as monozygotic twins that or which are reared separately. And we mentioned a while ago that hormones may also play an important role in the development of personality disorders since some, okay, impulsive traits are linked to high testosterone levels. Okay? So, yung testosterone level daw na ito is, um, tawag dito, is the 17 estradiol in your estro. Okay, so when you say when you talk about testosterone, this is the main hormone for men. Okay, at in men kasi medyo mas dominant, okay, mas commanding ang personality. Okay, so temperament actually we've been talking about temperament uh, kani-kanina pa. So temperament is actually the person's nature, okay, especially as it permanently affects their behavior. All right? So this is the nature of one person. So ito na yung kinalakihan na ng isang tao. Okay? Kasi 'di ba minsan may ano tayo, may sinisita tayo minsan na ibang tao tapos sasabihin nila na hindi ganyan na kasi talaga yan. Okay, ganyan ganyan na yung kanyang ugali, ever since. So yun yung ating, temperament actually. Namana niya yan sa ano, eh, yan na yung ugali niya or ugali nila as a family, alright? So, some evidence for underactive autonomic nervous system, okay, medyo, related din yung ating autonomic, nervous system. This may explain why some may crave excitement, okay, and fail to respond to normally to threats and danger. Okay, our fight and flight responses. Pwede rin daw na this is caused by parental influence or the way we have learned our ways, okay, in a certain society. So most children internalize their parents' values. So kung ano ang ugali ng magulang, minsan na-adapt din ng mga anak. We assimilate and we accommodate these characteristics of our parents. Okay, and we grow with the same disposition as our parents have. Okay, because at times we idolize them kasi, or no matter how bad they are, okay, or how rigid these attitudes that your parents may have, still meron tayong we want to be like them. This is called actually in psychiatry as projection. We project ourselves, okay, from our parents. So we fear the loss of love if they do not behave in accordance with these values. All right. So, also, early childhood experiences can encourage the development of maladaptive behavior because as children, we become very, tawag dito, we are easily persuaded, all right? We easily adapt, okay, to, tawag dito, to different um, to what we see, okay, or to what we witness, okay, from our environment. Okay, so nakukuha natin, na-adapt natin yung mga ugaling yon, okay, whether this behavior, these experiences are bad or good, okay, we do not actually care about whether this are not ideal, okay. So nakukuha natin yun as a child. So many persons with personality disorder show a history of negative childhood experiences and a significant loss of parenting as well. So a child who receives no love from either parent does not fear its loss. So nagiging ano din sila, nagiging careless, all right? They do not respect the rights of other people because they have they haven't shown love and care when they were growing up. That's why parang alam mo yon wala namang ano eh, wala namang hindi love does not exist naman. So ganun din yung kanilang paniniwala because they, you cannot uh, you cannot actually give what you do not have nga na ika nga, 'di ba? So hindi ka din magbibigay ng concern, ng pag-aruga sa ibang tao because as a child you were not able to experience it yourself. All right? So he does not identify with the rejecting parents and does not internalize their rules. All right. Okay. So a child may develop antisocial personality if learning that punishment can be avoided by being charming, lovable, and repentant. All right. So yun nga, minsan na-experience din ninyo ito when you were a student, okay? So bakit kaya si ganito eh pares lang naman kami ng ginawa. May classmate eh pares lang din naman kami ng kasalanan. Pero bakit parang ako yung nadidiin tapos siya hindi naman, okay? Parang mas pinapanigan pa siya ng ibang tao. Okay? So minsan pag may kasalanan ka kasama ni classmate A and you were confronted, alright, and alam mong maldito o maldita kayo pareho, tapos ikaw, you show your true self, tapos siya naman nagbabait-baitan, okay, maya-maya, ang sisi nasa iyo na lahat. Kahit dalawa naman kayong gumawa ng kasalanan. Ganun po ang mga antisocial person, okay? They they are able to escape, okay, punishments from other people by being, manipulative and in some ways. Okay, so someone who is consistently able to avoid punishment by claiming to be sorry or promising never to do it again may fear that it is not the deed that counts but charm and the ability to act repentant. So sila yung mga very apologetic kunyari, tas pagtalikod na nung tao na nag-apprehend ng kanilang kasalanan, balik na naman tapos sasabihin nila, tsa-tsa-tsa, ang dami-dami sinasabi ulit dun sa and nakikita mo na, hindi naman pala totoong siya, nagsisisi siya dun sa kasalanan niya. Alright? Just, they do it just to avoid some sort of punishment. So a child who is protected from frustration or distress may have no ability to empathize with the distress of others. All right. So they have no feelings of remorse. All right. Okay, for what they have done. Childhood abuse, physically or all right. So childhood abuse, physically or maybe emotionally, have strong evidences for association between borderline personality and of course sexual abuse. Okay, so merong correlation na nakikita din ng ating mga psychiatrists and even theorists. Okay, that supports uh, the um, the correlation. Okay, that there is a correlation between now sexual abuse and the development of a borderline person. So evidences also for link between sexual abuse and any personality disorder diagnosis. So, ayan, beware of false memory syndrome though. Ayan, so mamaya maano din natin yan, matatackle din natin yan. And most children exposed to a specific adversity do not develop an adult mental disorder. All right, multiple adversities have a cumulative effect though. All right. So lahat naman tayo may pinagdadaanan, may mga problema along the way uh, during our growing up years. But some people have overcome these situations or these experiences successfully. But some others, okay, were left behind. Okay, hindi sila makakope up, and the only way for them to cope, okay, they perceive that the only way for them to cope is, to cope negatively with the challenges of life. Ayan. So, yun doon na pumapasok yung ating mga personality disorders. Timing is not crucial since traditional wisdom that the younger the age of trauma, the more damaging is not always necessary. So, some personality traits or some personality issues can come late. All right. So, pwedeng healthy ang kanyang buhay for 3 decades and after 30, okay, dito na naging mapait ang kanyang mga karanasan bilang isang tao and Those, okay. And these experiences, um, these bitter experiences or unpleasant experiences may contribute to the development of your, okay, of personality issues or maladaptive patterns of behavior. All right. So, okay, so there are actually three clusters or types of personality disorders. We have cluster A, these are the people who are suspicious. Cluster B, emotional and impulsive. And cluster C are the anxious. All right, so for the suspicious type, you have your paranoid. They have this suspicious pattern of behavior, and they feel like others are against them. They are sensitive to rejection, and they hold grudges over a period of time. Schizoid personalities, emotionally cold. They prefer their own company, and they have this ability to fantasize. Okay, for several period of time. Okay, ito yung sinasabi natin kanina that some people under who are suffering from personality disorders have this detachment from reality or from the real world. Schizotypal, they have odd ideas, parang hindi mo sila maintindihan, parang may sarili silang mundo. Okay, that is actually the hallmark sign. Para silang may sariling mundo, they have difficulties with thinking, they have lack of emotion, difficulties of thinking, ibig sabihin they have this um, tawag dito, unrealistic judgments, okay? They lack emotion, and they may see or hear strange things. Like for example, may balita silang narinig and they feel like the news are referring to them. Ayan. So para siyang paranoid in some at some point, kaya nga siya under suspicious because they suspect, okay, the acts, the actuations of other people, the media, okay, and some others, okay, to be referring to them. Okay, ayan, most of the time. All right, so another type would be your emotional and impulsive. You have your antisocial or your dissocial personality. Okay, ito lang yung ano natin ha, let's clarify kasi some people, some nurses, okay, even nurses kasi thinks that antisocial personality is avoiding, okay, socializations or making relationships. Hindi po ganun. Okay, do not take antisocial literally na they antisocial, anti is avoiding or rejecting relationships. Hindi ganon, okay? Hindi siya purely ganon. All right. So antisocial, yes, we have these people, okay, at some point avoids relationships actually, okay, but not necessarily na para silang schizoid people, okay, na detached from making relationships. Yun nga lang, iniiwasan kasi sila ng ibang tao. Alright? Hindi actually yung antisocial ang umiiwas sa ibang tao. It's the people around them who avoids these people because they have no care for the feelings of others. Alright? So they are easily frustrated, bigla-biglang nagtataas ng boses yan, bigla-biglang naghahamon ng away, and they do not have intimate relationships, okay, and since this attitudes, okay, occurs, okay, or happens, okay, yung ibang tao na umiiwas sa kanila. All right, uh, they act on spur of moment. So kung ano yung naisipan nila sa ngayon, yun din yung kanilang gagawin. And the problem with this kind of people are they do not have these feelings of remorse or wala silang pagsisisi sa mga ginagawa nila. Okay? They don't feel guilty about what they have done. Another type of your emotional and impulsive personality is your borderline or emotionally unstable people. Some people under this type are really impulsive in nature. They decide quickly kung ano yung naisipan nila, gagawin nila. They have this low self-worth. Okay? So, hindi ako masyadong importante. Mas importante yung aking partner. That's why I'm so okay. I will be very sad. I will be very lonely kung ako ay iiwan niya. Okay? Or wala na siya sa akin. Okay, they become so dependent, okay, to their partners, okay, and they may resort to self harm. Pwede silang mag suicide, okay, and they would feel very empty if they are tawag dito, they are detached from close people, okay, in their circle. Okay, sila yung very clingy, they make and break relationships, at kapag, okay, when you say make and break relationship, sobrang attached yung mga yan, sobrang sweet, sobrang OA, PDA, lahat na. Okay, but they can actually, okay, break from these relationships very easily. Ayan. And they feel paranoid. Ito yung mga tao na sa sobrang pagmamahal nila, lahat ng nakikita nilang kasama ng kanilang partner, even if these people are, relatives, okay, or wala namang intimate connection with their partners, talagang pinagseselosan nila yan. So these are your borderline people. Okay. So another type of emotional and impulsive would be your histrionic. They are overly dramatic, self-centered, dinadaan nila yung kanilang pagpapapansin sa pag-iingay nila. They show strong emotions in public, okay, which may change and don't last. They are so much suggestible, okay? Suggestible, they crave new things, okay? And of course, they are too excited. Ayan. So, ulitin lang natin, okay, yung sinabi natin kanina that these people actually are dinadaan nila yung kanilang pagpapapansin, okay, sa kanilang pag-iingay. Okay, when you say pala suggestible, they are always open to suggestions and they do not kumbaga wala silang prinsipyo sa buhay. Pag may sinabing ganito, gagawin nila. Pag may bago na naman, gagawin nila kahit, hindi dapat ginagawa. They are easily persuaded or swayed by other people. Okay, and for the other type, okay, you have here your narcissistic. Narcissistic came from the character or mythological character Narcissus, who fell in love with himself upon seeing his image or his reflection in, I think, in the river. Tapos nakita niya yung kanyang sarili na sobrang ano, yung appearance niya na sobrang likable, to the point na hindi na siya tumanggap ng hindi na siya sumubok magmahal o kaya nag-entertain ng 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 mga tao na pwede niya sanang mapangasawa, because parang sinabi niya sa sarili niya na walang makakapantay, okay, sa good looks daw niya, okay. So ibig sabihin meron siyang strong sense of self-importance, okay. Feeling niya siya yung pinaka-importante, siya yung pinakamamahal ng lahat, okay, siya yung pinakamaganda, pinakagwapo, alright? And they have this dream of so much power, and they think that they are so successful more than the success of other people, and they crave attention of others, okay, by doing, okay, activities, okay, or making themselves tawag dito, yung ginagawa nila ng paraan, yung kanilang mga outfit, okay, para mapansin sila ng ibang tao. They have no warm feelings in return, and at times they're so exploitative and manipulative in nature. Okay, so i-discuss pa natin yan lalo maya-maya. And the third cluster would be your anxious type. Under this would be your obsessive compulsive. When you say obsessive compulsive, obsessive is a product of the mind. So iniisip mo, okay, compulsive, ginagawa mo. So kung ano yung iniisip mo, yung obsession mo, ginagawa mo, okay, ginagawa mo siya ng paulit-ulit. So for example, your obsession is you think that the doorknob, okay, or all doorknobs are dirty. Meron siyang microorganism. Okay, so siyempre wala ka namang ibang choice kundi hawakan yung doorknob. Inopen mo ngayon yung doorknob, okay? And the compulsive is, or the compulsion is, you wash, okay? Siyempre madumi yung kamay mo dahil iniisip mo siya. That is your obsession. So, hinugasan mo ngayon yung kamay mo. Okay? That is now your compulsion. Okay? Yun na yung action na gagawin mo to relieve your mind from, okay, your obsession. Pero if it becomes repetitive, it becomes habitual, you are doing your compulsion repetitively, it becomes a problem. So naghugas ka ngayon ng safeguard, hinugasan mo ulit kasi hindi ka kontento, hinugasan mo ulit for the third time kasi feeling mo parang may microorganisms pa, tapos nag-alcohol ka pa, okay, nag-alcohol gel ka pa, alright, tapos pinaano mo pa yan, pinaarawan mo pa para talagang mainit yung kamay. Ayan. So, that is your compulsion. You worry and you doubt, okay, the cleanliness of the hands. Okay? At para ma-relieve yung iyong obsession, inulit-ulit mo siyang hinugasan. These people are perfectionists. They want everything to be in order. Gusto nila yung arrangement ng kanilang damit is from light colored hanggang sa dark colored, okay? Light yellow, then dark yellow, and then susunod yan ng light orange, then dark orange, then susundan yan ng light red, and then dark red, mga ganyan. So meron siyang order. And then ang arrangement ng kanyang shoes uh, tawag dito, yung date ng pagbili. So ito yung mga binili natin 10 years ago, naka-arrange siya properly. And then yung susunod naman is tawag dito 5 years ago, mga ganyan. Tapos paulit-ulit mo yan na inaayos-ayos dahil hindi ka na satisfy dun sa isahan or dalawahang pag-ayos sa mga gamit. They have high moral standards. These people are very conservative in nature. They are so judgmental as well. Okay, because they are living a near to perfect life. Okay? Okay, a near to perfect lives. Okay? Kaya yung buhay kasi nila is so they think that it is so perfect, okay? Kaya kapag may ginawa ka na hindi nagko-conform doon sa ginagawa nila, mali yun para sa kanila. Okay? So they are sensitive as well to criticisms. Okay? Ganyan yung mga perfectionist kasi um, uh, ang alam nila yung kanilang activities are so perfect that na wala na dapat mapupuna yung ibang tao. That's why when they are criticized for what they do, ano yan, nagre-retaliate sila. Okay? Napaka, tawag dito, yung easily arousable to criticism sa mga tao ito. Avoidant people are anxious, they are so tense, they are very insecure, they feel very inferior from other people na my potentials are really not as good as the others, mga ganyan. So, they have to be liked, okay, bago pa sila gagawa ng isang bagay, lagi dapat ina-appreciate mo yan kasi once they are underappreciated, okay, hindi mo na yan mako-convince to do, okay, to do activities in the workplace or in the school. They always wanted to be accepted and they are so sensitive to criticisms as well. Ayan. Dependent people, these are passive, okay, parang robot. Pag hindi mo tutok-tokan, hindi yan gagalaw. Okay, pag kahit alam na niya na madumi yung isang lugar o may nadaanan na siyang kalat, hindi pa niya pupulutin yan. Okay, kailangan utusan mo pa na gawin mo ito, gawin mo yan. Alright? So they rely on others to make decisions. Okay, so kailangan may opinion lagi yung ibang tao before they decide on something. They feel incompetent because, all decisions are coming from other people. They don't have the ability to decide clearly on what they want. They feel abandoned by other people as well. Okay, so special populations, 75% are men, okay, 60% are women who have or who successfully commit suicide, okay, and 46% belong to the anxious or paranoid type, okay. Ayan. Alright, so cluster A, and so nabanggit na natin kanina that there are several clusters in personality disorders. And your cluster A would consist of the following. You have schizoid, schizotypal, and your avoidant personality. So when you say schizoid personality class, all right, so these are actually people characterized by a pervasive, okay, pattern of detachment from social, okay, relationships and a restricted range of emotional expression in interpersonal setting. Okay, so the main personality traits of a schizoid person is the inability to form, okay, close relationships. Okay, sulat natin yan, inability of these people to form close relationships. Okay, at the same time, close relationships. At the same time, class, the common that these people does not, they do not actually hate people, but they just prefer to be alone. Okay, prefers to be alone. Ayan, they prefer to be alone. They do not enjoy or desire close human relationships. Okay. The common coping mechanisms, you always have to take note of this. Um, uh the common coping mechanism of these people is fantasizing. So the person prefer theoretical speculation to practical actions. Okay? So madalas yan even in daytime. Okay, nag-ano yan, nag-fantasize, iniisip niya na meron siyang special powers. Okay, what if I have the ability to fly? What if I have the ability to be invisible? Mga ganyan. So, meron silang mga may mga friends in a different world. Okay, so the disorder tends to occur more often in men, okay, than in women. It affects as much as 7% of the general population. So the onset of this problem may start, okay, as early as childhood, and it may manifest in early adulthood. Okay, so many individuals with this problem are accomplished intellectually, so marurunong sa klase. But actually, most of them, yun nga, do not have really a healthy relationship with other people. But even though they are smart, they are intelligent, they have this lack in future goals or direction. So, matatalino, kaya nilang mag-survive academically in schools, but they do not have a direction when they finish their academic goals. So, doon natin minsan nakikita, di ba, na daig talaga ng masipag ang matalino. Maraming matatalino ang hindi nagiging successful in their lives after their academic years. Okay? Dahil maraming matatalino ang kulang sa diskarte. Okay. So individuals with this disorder rarely seek treatment as most of them do not suffer from this disorder. They are not aware that they are having a problem. Their social isolation is of more concern to their friends and relatives than to them. So wala naman akong problema. Hindi eh, meron. Hindi ka nakikimingle sa ibang tao. You always enjoy living alone, mga ganyan. So they are usually able to carry on with their normal activities, okay, of daily living, taking on jobs that require none or little interaction with other people, such as computer programming, mathematicians, or pwede rin silang mga physicists, okay, mga librarians, okay, na nasa nasa isolated portions, okay, yung walang interaction with the students. And many prefer night work, okay, dahil wala silang masyadong interaction with other people. So, distinguishing feature, what are the hallmark signs of schizoid personality? All right, so you have to understand that people with this kind of problem may share many similarities with schizophrenia. So halos similar siya. Yun nga lang, ang ang problema lang dun sa schizophrenia, they have a perceptual distortion. They suffer from hallucinations and illusions. But for schizoid personality, walang ganon. Okay? Nagfa-fantasize lang sila. Okay, yung over talagang very creative ang kanilang imagination. But not to the point na nakakakita sila ng mga bagay na hindi nakikita ng isang normal individual. The content of communication of the person with this disorder is usually normal. Okay, yung kanilang mga sinasabi is within, normal level or normal range naman. Yun nga lang, uh, they do not have this enthusiasm, the energy, okay, of expressing their feelings. Okay, monotonous yung kanilang pananalita. Okay, galit yan pero monotonous pa rin. Okay, happy yan pero alam mo yung same pa rin yung yung normal na sinasabi niya. Okay, is same dun sa emotions niya kapag siya ay sad at siya ay happy. So communication is not actually odd, okay? Hindi siya kakaiba or abnormal at some point kagaya nung nararanasan ng schizotypal na person. Okay? So communication is okay naman, may tama naman din yung kanyang sinasabi. Alright. Yun nga lang, kulang lang talaga siya sa energy and enthusiasm. Okay, when talking to other individuals. So, the possible causes, all right, of schizoid personality are can be biological in nature. So, pwedeng genetically acquired. May mga kamag-anak, may mga ancestors na ganito rin ang kanilang personality, or maybe they were these are inborn qualities nung bata. Siguro hindi sila masyado na-expose sa ibang tao at hindi sila na motivate ng kanilang mga parents to join activities ng kanilang mga teachers because they are and eventually na-develop yung kanilang shy personality. It can also be due to environmental factors, all right? So they have a history of a cold, insensitive, or neglectful parents, okay, during their early lives, which have caused these individuals to develop the belief that relationships will not be gratifying, okay? So, hindi naging successful yung marriage maybe ng kanilang parents. That's why ganun din na parang hindi na rin ako mag-aasawa, hindi na rin ako makikipag-mingle sa ibang tao because, I have seen my parents na unsuccessful din yung kanilang relationship. That's why hindi ko na rin susubukan dahil it might happen also to me. Okay? So, which causes a defense of withdrawal, okay, from others. Thus, the social isolation inherent in a person is inherent in this person with schizoid personality. So, what are your assessment or possible assessment in a client with schizoid? So, there is social detachment or social isolation, lacking friends, confidence, and social support networks. They have, at times, may mga kaibigan din yan, pero sobrang konti at consistent. Yung friend nila from day one will are friends from until the end. All right, and they have a very limited interest in having sexual relationship with other people. They have this interest in solitary activities, okay? Nag-iisa silang naglalaro, okay? Kagaya ng sabi natin kanina, they are engaged in computer games na pang-isahan lang, hindi sila pang multiplayer. They are aloof and indifferent to praise and criticisms. They have an eccentric thinking, believing in ghosts, reincarnations, mga ganyan. UFO, yan yung mga pinapaniwalaan din nila. Okay? Because they have a very creative imagination. They are susceptible to nightmares and states of altered consciousness as well. They have emotional detachment, wala silang humor, okay? Meron silang humor pero hindi talaga siya okay, nakakatawa minsan. Aloof, they are so indifferent even to family members, okay? Rarely displaying emotional their emotions like anger, hindi sila minsan nag-express ng saya. Meron man pero sabi nga natin monotonous yung kanila expression. They are indifferent of what is going on around them. Okay, and they have a very restricted expression of emotions, like lack of joy and zest in life. They are not okay. They are reluctant to assert themselves or assume leadership roles. Ayaw nila ng mga ganyan, yung na ipupunta sila sa center of criticisms. Okay, even if they are qualified to be one. All right. They prefer habit, okay, or restricted routines and lifestyle that is so rigid and predictable, causing them to be labeled as robots, zombies, machines. Ganyan. Gusto nila ng paulit-ulit lang na activities. At yung, alam mo yon, alam mo na yung gagawin nila. Okay, alam mo na yung magiging outcome ng okay, gagawin nila. And of course, they do not find joy in other people. Okay, but they can form attachment to animals. Okay? So mas gusto pa nilang makipag-usap o interact with animals rather than interacting with human beings. Okay. So typical beliefs of a person with a schizoid personality are the following. So it doesn't matter actually what other people think of me. It is important for me to be free and independent of others. I enjoy doing things more than myself with other people. So in many situations, I am better off to be alone. Okay, I am a social misfit. I cannot fit into social circles. Life is bland and unfulfilling. Okay, what other people think doesn't matter to me. Ayan, di ba? Sana all. Ayan. So hindi tayo affected ng sinasabi ng ibang tao. So this is an example of a case with schizoid personality, guys.
It's been just you and your mother?
Yeah.
No? Do you have brothers and sisters, or?
Yeah.
Father? Did you grow up with a father?
Yeah. I grew up with my father, yeah.
But he doesn't live there now.
No.
You like the people you work with?
Yeah, I like the people.
Uh-huh. Any of them your friends?
Yeah.
You do things after work, or?
I go, I go home or I go shopping, or groceries, or
But you don't spend time with the people you work with outside of work.
no,
Would you like to?
no.
Do you ever go out on the weekend?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll go shopping or go to the movies or I'll stay at home and watch TV or read or
All right. So okay, so that is now your schizoid personality. So how do we deal with people with this type of personality? So first, it is important to remember that to develop feelings of security, okay, because they always wanted to be secure, to be safe at all times, and possible sources of disappointments in the relationship should be avoided. So we do not place them in a situation na makikriticize sila ng ibang tao. Stability and support are the most important keys in working with this patient. Okay, so the nurse should always initiate interactions, but allow the patient to set the pace of the relationship. Okay, by acknowledging the patient's need for personal distance and showing respect for his or her private thoughts. These are usually the first step in gaining the patient's trust and cooperation. You have to take note that these people are very suspicious in nature. Okay, so your sincerity, your consistency are always questioned, or should always be um, considered. All right. So the nurse can initially ask the patient to participate in activities that involve little socialization, little people who are there are a limited number of people who are attending that certain situation. Okay. And then later, advanced activities requiring more and more socialization. So pa konti-konti, nadadalhin mo siya in yung number of participants. Maybe, okay, you can involve them in an event with 20 people, then susunod 50 people, then after some time, okay, 100 people na. And then later on, na ano na sila, na lumalaki yung number of audience, okay, na ina-attendan nila. So the nurse should not force the patient to go on the next level of relationship, okay, before that person is ready. As this could smother, okay, the patient. Parang pwede siyang masakal kapag biglaan mo siyang ay para siyang nasasakal sa isang relasyon, kasi kapag binibigla natin sila to, you know, to finally be involved in a certain relationship. And this may cause them to withdraw, ayan, and terminate, okay, the treatment if they are forced to do something that is against their will, or they are not ready yet to be involved in a certain relationship. So you improve also patients' functioning in the community, such as referring them to case managers that can help them obtain needed health care and manage their finances. Refer them also to to available community resources that can provide assistance to the patient, such as social services. Ayan. So referring them to different, okay, agencies can make them more sociable. This will help them gain or develop trust, okay, and confidence to other individuals as well. At the same time, slowly or gradually, you can already let them join social skills training, as the nurse should use a therapeutic relationship in encouraging the patient to try out new coping skills and to learn social attachment to other people. All right. So this may not be a great source of socialization for them, but at least gradually nag-ano na rin sila, nagkakapag-develop na sila ng trust and rapport to other individuals. So most of the time, the client does not have a desire to increase social interaction or maybe form intimate relationship. But of course, he can be motivated to increase his ability, or the nurse can help in motivating the patient to increase his ability to relate, communicate, to mingle with other people. So this can help him express himself more effectively and comfortably this time with other people. All right. So some techniques that the nurse may use, okay, in encouraging a schizoid person are role playing, okay, and videotape interactions. All right. So para nakikita nila na okay, ganun pala, mas maganda pala if I interact with other people, kasi hindi naman pala lahat masasamang tao, or nako-correct naman yung kanyang mga misconceptions. Alright, by letting him view, okay, videotape materials na positive naman siya in nature. So other types of treatment which we can actually use would be your psychotherapy. Pag sinabi mong psychotherapy class, it's actually getting their responses, letting them talk about their experiences. Okay, so yun lang. You will let them express themselves in psychotherapy. So it can be individual or it can be group. Okay, but you can start individual psychotherapy siguro para hindi naman siya mabigla. And then later on, gradually, you can already involve now other people in a group therapy. All right. So psychopharmacology also can be given. Medications can also be given. All right. But actually, there is no specific medication for the treatment of schizoid personality. Ayan. Yun nga lang, we alleviate the symptoms. That's why we give medications for them. Okay. Usually short-term treatment. Okay. Ng kanilang depression or any related conditions like anxiety. Okay, anxiety. Bakit pa anxiety? Dahil nagkakaroon sila ng anxiety, okay, when they are involved in group activities. Okay, minsan nagkakaroon sila ng depression because yun nga, they are afraid of criticisms from other people. That's why if these criticisms occur, all right, sobrang affected, sobrang lonely sila, nasasaktan sila agad. All right. So psychological inability to experience pleasure, okay. Psychological inability to experience pleasure. Okay, you call it anhedonia. All right. Anhedonia is the inability of one person to experience pleasure. Okay, yung mga pleasurable activities dati hindi mo na na-enjoy ngayon. Okay, that is anhedonia. And we can give Wellbutrin. Okay, ang gamot natin dyan is your Wellbutrin. All right. So this is Wellbutrin. You can also give now Risperdal. Okay, Risperdal. All right. These are tawag dito. These are your antipsychotics. Okay, Risperidone, and you can also give now Olanzapine. This is also your antipsychotics. All right. So this can help in flattening the emotion. This can help the person from his or her flattened emotions, and of course his or her social problems. There are also self-help groups. Okay. Usually mga self-help groups natin are former schizoids, okay, na naka-recover from their condition. So they will help these people na suffering from schizoid personality from coping. O ano bang ginawa mo, okay? Ito yung mga ginawa ko for me to survive or for me to recover from schizoid personality. So isi-share nila sa mga tao who are suffering from, okay, schizoid naman. And this will really help them since this kind of group is a sign that there is really hope, okay, sa kanilang kaso. So this supportive and unobtrusive support group in the community can help the schizoid people in overcoming his fears of closeness and feelings of isolation. So the individual can learn new social coping skills during their interaction with people, mostly who have recovered from this condition. All right. So next, we move on immediately to your schizotypal personality, which is characterized to be a display of emotional detachment pa rin. Same with your schizoid. Social isolation din. Same with your schizoid. Yun nga lang, they have an abnormal or highly unusual thoughts, perceptions, speech, and behavior patterns similar to those of people with schizophrenia, but not severe enough to be diagnosed as schizophrenia. All right. So pag schizophrenia kasi most of the time very consistent yung kanilang presentation of signs and symptoms. But for schizotypal, it is usually tawag dito yung sporadic. Okay, paminsan-minsan, ganyan. May mga episodes lang. Among the schizophrenia-related disorders that include your schizotypal, paranoid, and schizoid personality is the most severe. Okay, schizotypal is the most severe of the three and the most closely related to schizophrenia. Okay, so sa tatlo under our cluster A, yung paranoid, schizoid, at schizotypal, your schizotypal person is actually the the most severe. All right. So individuals with this disorder rarely seek treatment on their own. They think this is normal, okay, and they perceive as if nothing is wrong with them. So they often go to therapy for other conditions such as depression, but not due to their schizotypal personality. So it can be biologic in nature or it can be environmental. Okay, the possible causes can be biologic. Since Okay, the problem is related to the dopamine hypothesis. Ang sabi, meron daw excessive amount of dopamine activity in the brain. Okay. So, 'di ba, pag merong increased dopamine, dopamine is excitatory. This is a neurotransmitter that can excite, okay, or overexcite someone. So, it can excite the person physically, okay? Kaya hindi yan mapakali, galaw ng galaw, lakad ng lakad, or it can excite the person mentally. So when you say mentally, na ano yan, nagkakaroon ng over imagination, very wild ang kanyang imagination, out of this world ang kanyang imagination, napaka-active ng kanyang utak. Okay, when there is alright, increase in dopamine activity, giving this person, alright, yung mga out of this world na mental pictures. Okay? Like for example, magical thinking, okay, or odd thinking and the ideas of reference as if yung balita is referring to him, okay? For example, sabi ni Mike Enriquez sa balita na ayan may ano na, may libo-libong mga baboy ang kinatay dahil sa naglapa ng sakit na dulot ng ASF, sabi niya. Tapos medyo mataba yung ano natin, schizotypal client natin. So ang iisipin niyan, aba, sabi niya nga, bastos tong Mike Enriquez na to. Ako at ang pinapatamaan niya sa balita niya yan. Alright? So kahit hindi sa kanya yung balita, or Mike Enriquez is not referring to that person, when you are suffering from schizotypal personality, you think that this news, okay, coming out from the television or from the print media, eh ikaw ang pinapatamaan nila. All right? So assessment also, all right? So another cause would be environmental in nature. So negative early life experiences that may cause the person physical, sexual, and emotional trauma can be related to the development of schizotypal personality. All right. So actually, the causes of schizophrenia are actually almost the same with your schizotypal personality. So if you happen to encounter a schizotypal or a suspect, okay, for a schizotypal personality, these are the things that you have to take note. First is they usually resort or engage themselves to magical thinking. So this is a belief that one's thoughts and actions can control something or someone. Okay, so for example, a client believe or a person believes that he can cause harm or something bad to happen to other people by thinking angry thoughts about them. Okay, so yung cursing, okay, na naku, napaka loko-loko ng taong ito. Sana sana tawag dito, kunin ng mga UFO yung bahay ninyo at ipunta kayo doon sa kanilang tirahan in the outer space. So may mga ganyan. So they believe that, that idea in mind exists. Okay? So they also have ideas of reference. Yung sabi natin kanina nga na the printed media or the news that they hear in the television would refer to them. Okay? Perceptual distortions as well. Okay, suspicious and paranoid ideas can also be a parameter for you to consider someone schizotypal. And they also have superstitious beliefs that keeps on preoccupying them. So means may mga superstitious beliefs tayo pero ano lang 'yan, sporadic. Kung halimbawa meron kang naisip ngayon, nakakita ka ng maitim na pusa, para mag-iisip ka lang na, baka merong something wrong that may happen to me today. Pero hindi naman araw-araw na iniisip mo yan. Unlike in a schizotypal people, it becomes a part of their life, okay, of their lives, okay? yung preoccupation nila to superstitious beliefs, as if everything that happens to them is related to what they experience superstitiously. All right. So at the same time, indifference to and withdrawal from other people. Ayaw din nila na nakikihalubili sa ibang tao. Okay, just like the schizoid person. They have this discomfort when they are around with people. They have anxiety when with strangers. Okay, due to their, sabi nga natin kanina, they are under your suspicious personality. They have this failure to perceive social cues and therefore cannot react accordingly. And they feel being different and parang hindi ako nababagay sa socialization na ito. Ayan. And that may cause them that discomfort, okay? In a certain socialization or gathering. They are odd, they have a very elaborate style of dressing, speaking, and interacting with others that causes other people to notice them. So parang there is some sort of a narcissistic way of dressing. Yun nga lang, hindi nga sila yung taong maingay. Sila yung reserved, sila yung tahimik, okay? And usually, ang kanilang type of dressing are dirty and inappropriate. Okay? So pupunta sila sa birthday, okay, na naka all black, okay. Pupunta sila sa lamay na naka sobrang bright naman, naka yellow, naka orange, okay. Ayan, as if they are expressing joy in a supposedly sad event or gathering. They are unkempt and disheveled. They have this disheveled appearance. They are vague. They have a loose and incoherent speech. Okay, usually incomprehensible. Okay, so typical attitudes and beliefs of a schizotypal person is that I feel like an alien in a frightening environment. So this means actually that they are not really that comfortable, okay, in joining other people. Since the world is dangerous, you have to watch out for yourself at all times. Ayan, so they are suspicious. Okay. What else? Sometimes my inner feelings are an indication of what is going to happen. Okay, so meron silang magical thinking. Okay, na as if they have this ability to ang tawag doon yung napapangunahan nila yung pwedeng mangyari, as if they have this Nostradamus uh, characteristic in them. Relationships are always threatening. That's why they do not engage in intimate relationships as well. I am defective. They have this very low self-esteem. Okay, that's why they are afraid also of criticisms. Okay, and okay, they have this inability to express their emotions as well. They are flat affect. Okay, walang ka-emotion just like the schizoid persons. Okay, so your diagnostic criteria, ito na nga siya, yung ating assessment. Interventions, all right? So individuals with schizotypal personality rarely seek treatments, same with your schizoid personality because, all right, they are not aware of the problem. At the same time, during the interview, they may reveal bizarre ideas regarding their illness. Okay? So, yung kanilang wildest imaginations, yung mga bizarre pictures in their mind, yun yung sinasabi nila minsan sa tawag dito, sa psychiatrist, and hindi sila nagkakaintindihan at some point because you cannot actually gather a reliable and accurate information from these people. So other interventions due to to the patient's suspiciousness and paranoia, the initial step actually of your therapy is to establish a trusting relationship. Dahil nga suspicious ito, you always have to be sincere, you have to establish trust and rapport, you should not break from your promises, okay? Since, okay, the nurse should do what the nurse should do here is to interact with the patient in a direct and professional manner. Okay? Huwag kang makikipagbiruan sa mga patient na ito because this may break, okay, the trust that the trust and confidence that they have in you. Avoid over-involvement in the patient's personal and social issues. Do not ask for unnecessary questions that may involve their personal lives, which this could increase paranoia or this may be interpreted by the patient as too intrusive. Napakapakialamero naman ng nurse na ito. Okay? Or iisipin niya na baka may balak ito sa akin na masama. Bakit tinatanong niya yung aking address? Bakit tinatanong niya yung family members ko? Okay? And this may affect your relationship with the patient over time. So at the same time, the nurse should tolerate odd beliefs. You always have to present reality. Ayan, always reality information. Okay, reality orientation. Okay, but not reinforce them. Contradict or reject it. So wag mo siyang kukontrahin. Yun nga lang, pag may sinabi siya na product of the magical thinking, like for example, UFO, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na, hindi totoo yan. Okay? Just have to acknowledge it. Okay. I think you were so preoccupied of, what you have watched a while ago about UFOs, and that made you, that supported your initial belief about them. Okay? But actually, based on, researches, based on blah, 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 okay, there are no existing UFOs yet. Okay. Pero pag pinilit ng pasyente na, okay, hindi, meron talaga, meron ganito, naniniwala ako sa ganyan. Do not, okay, argue with the patient. Okay, do not argue, do not contradict, do not reject their ideas in mind. You always have to respect patients' need for distance to feel secure. If they do not want to have an intimate distance, okay, with you, or they do not want to maintain an intimate zone with you, okay, please do not insist. Okay, you just have to be professional. Kung gusto niya ng medyo malayo ang distansya ninyo sa isa't isa while having the NPI, then you have to do it. Okay, and at the same time, you have to convey medical information and related explanation to the patient in a clear and straightforward manner. Alright? So kung ano yung nakalagay doon sa kanyang results, sa kanyang laboratory and diagnostic examinations, that's the only thing that you have to tell them. Okay? Okay, do not exaggerate the results, or do not give unnecessary information about the result. Okay, so this may cause increased anxiety, or this may destroy, okay, the trusting relationship that you have built, okay, during your MPI. So social skill trainings can also help them overcome fears of social contacts and human relationship. Okay, so if face-to-face contact is impossible to happen or uncomfortable for the patient, you can employ other alternatives as well, which can be used as an interaction by telephone, or pwede rin siyang in writing. Okay? Psychotherapy, yung patuloy or palagi ninyong pakikipag-usap sa kanila with the help of a psychiatrist, can actually change the odd thoughts. Yung mga nakakaano bang patawag dito sa odd, yung para unbelievable, okay, na thoughts ng pasyente natin, or out of this world thoughts of the patient. Okay, this odd behavior and communication pattern can be presented to the patient objectively using recorded conversations or recorded interactions or even videotapes. Psychopharmacology can also be used for treatment of acute phases of psychosis. If psychosis happens, kasi sabi nga natin kanina, your schizotypal are actually almost synonymous to your schizophrenia. Yun nga lang, schizotypal is, the symptoms, the signs are sporadic in nature. Unlike in your schizophrenia na consistent ang kanilang mga presentations or manifestations. So you can give medications or antipsychotic medications to at least lessen the episodes of stress. Okay, there are also self-help groups again which can who can help the patient overcome, all right, or to lessen the situation or the symptoms of the patient. Okay, so all right. Ayun na, hindi siya mag-move. Okay, so all right. So this is an example of a schizotypal client.
Feeling the Be sure to visit symptommedia.com to sign up for a free trial today.
And I often knew what he was thinking, so I knew when to leave him alone.
Where is he?
He died.
When was that?
A few years ago.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I read about it in the alumni magazine. But I remember receiving a feeling that something had happened to him before I read it.
Join the over 300 universities, colleges, medical.
All right, so that is now your schizotypal personality. Ayan, so I think it is time. We will just continue with your paranoid personality disorder next time. I hope you have a good day, and please review. Please have an advanced reading on these topics for you to absorb easily. Okay, this concepts, because this concepts actually, or these topics are ang tawag dito, parang it's impossible to happen. Parang hindi siya kapanipaniwala, di ba? If you are a normal individual, parang hindi siya nangyayari. But this actually exists, and you will understand it further, or you will understand the cases that I am talking about later on when you have an actual grasp of this patient. So when you have your affiliation or cross affiliation in a mental health facility later on. So thank you so much and have a good day.